Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Reading Ideas. I've been tagged a couple of times, so I'm going to try and do these for tomorrow, Tuesday. Firstly, I was tagged by James at Quaint and Curious Volumes. Go check his channel out. He's a very thoughtful guy. Just speaking about his love of literature. And the tag is the Honest Booktuber tag, and it was done by Harriet Rose 13. Harriet Rose 13. I think James was tagged by Book Chat with Pat. Right, and he's tagged me in the chain of tags. Okay, so I've got these questions here, so let's have a look. So firstly, have you ever lied about reading a book? Ooh. I can't think that I have. Three possibilities kind of came up in my mind: that someone bought me or gave me a book and I didn't want to read it, and later they asked me if I did and I fibbed and said that they did. Someone asked me if I've read a difficult book and I lied and said yes when I never read it. Or someone asked me if I read books who thinks it's uncool to read, and I lied and I said I've never. I don't know if these are residues of true situations from dim and distant past. You know, you just get a little feeling, have I lied? And you kind of feel, well, maybe I did, but I don't know. I suppose it's like when you see a police car go past, you get a bit of a guilt feeling. But I can't think of any specific situation. But I can't, I won't say that I never have, in case it's kind of held against me getting into heaven because I told a lie. 2, have you ever avoided a book because of controversy around the content or the author? These are really tricky questions, aren't they? Again, I can't think of any. My thoughts on this are that controversy seems to have changed. When I was younger, books were controversial if they were anti-religious or if they were explicit, a bit naughty. And then because of getting that reputation, people became more interested in reading them. What was that one by Eliot? That was banned. Was it Tender is the Night? Is it? And I can remember, getting around to reading that. I thought it was rubbish. Just the repeated use of the F word. I just thought it was just like, no one talks like that. Anyway, so yeah. But now controversy seems to be around pushing topics that were previously deemed immoral activities, or banning books that then criticise this. So yeah, it seems to have moved on now that religion is less strong in Western culture. But I don't seem to read anything particularly modern. And again, this is just me. I'm personally not interested in any of the movements. If someone says I'm reading for Queer Month, or I'm reading for Women's Month, or I'm reading for Palestine, Israel, or I'm reading for anti-colonialism, or if I'm reading for modern slavery, or I'm reading for climate change, anything like that, it's just an immediate red flag to me. I've read Pride and Prejudice and thought it was absolutely wonderful, because of the recommendation for the actual book. I didn't read it because it was written by a woman. I'd prefer to give her the what's the word? Give Jane Austen the courtesy of just saying it's a brilliant book, not it's a brilliant book for a woman. that's just my interpretation of it. If someone recommends me a book because it's brilliant, then fantastic. But if someone says it's climate change month, then I might be washing my hair that day, who knows. And I don't have any hair. I mean, I can remember, it just doesn't seem to lead to people's happiness. I've seen more than one booktuber say that they've read 10 books on some element of repression, and then just said they were depressed. If you want to take yourself down that route, then fine. I saw one channel did a book review on 5 books that were stories about women pirate ships. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't laugh. There's 5 books on women's pirate ships that it never happened. What on earth? What is that? Okay, you want to read that? It's down to you. One channel. I mean, I'm a bit of a fan of Hemingway, and one channel did a series of videos pulling apart some of Hemingway's work, and this video, it was a takedown of Hemingway's Not True at First Light, Across the River and Into the Trees, where it's an older Colonel, and it was written when Hemingway was older, and it was about his love affair with I think she's 17 in the book. I think she's Italian, a countess, and they go for a quiet snog, and he reads out the scene and absolutely, he tears it apart. It's terrible writing, and what a terrible terrible situation that this older guy is snogging a 17-year-old. Now, you could say, fair enough, but one of the first books that he reviewed in the same episode was a book on, I think it was a book about transgender love or something like that, and there was 2 chapters that he said were incredibly graphic, he said, and he was saying, well, it's not quite for me, that kind of level. If you're into that stuff, then you're into that stuff, but if you're not honest with yourself, then you can't be honest with anybody, can you? If you didn't like it, then say you didn't like it. I can't be doing with all that. Dishonesty. Have I missed anything on that bit? No. 3. Have you ever been sent a book for free and not disclosed it? That question must be for booktuber channels that are way bigger than mine. Yeah, the books that I'm reviewing, I'm not secretly hiding from books that have been sent to me and pushing them. For a start, I think most of the books that I've reviewed, the authors are long gone and buried in the ground. So no, I don't think this question has got much relevance for me. 4. Have you ever bought a book with no intention of reading it? I was going to say no, but then I was going to say no with a slight caveat. I'll come on to the caveat in a second, but then I realised that I have, and quite recently. So there's a charity shop near me in Morecambe that has 10 books for £1, 10 pence each. And sometimes what I'll do is, to make it up to the 10, I'll chuck in some books, 1, 2, 3, whatever, that I know I'm not going to be reading. I'll chuck them in to make it up to the 10, and then I will put them in one of the local free book swap shops. I'll try and pick books that I think other people might be interested in. Now, the bit that I was going to mention first is, I've also bought some books that I think, that are going to go low down on the TBR. So if I'm in a second-hand bookshop and I look through the classics, say, ancient Roman, Greek, and they're there for 50p or £1, I might pick them up at that price, knowing that they will be well down the TBR list. Whether I will live to read them, whether I'll ever get around to reading them is debatable, but there is a chance that I'll have a burst and get through a few of them. So yeah. 5. Have you ever got caught up in BookTube drama? Okay, so I'm laughing. People think that I speak my mind, but I actually bite my tongue. is my view. I try and be very, very polite, and I do see lots of things on BookTube, and I usually keep my fingers off the keyboard, but I don't mind discussing contentious topics. I just hope that it's with somebody who is going to be an honest debater. So I put up a couple of videos that have lost a few subscribers. I put a few comments on people's videos that were saying it's the end of the world, and that Trump, before it happened, Trump should be assassinated, and then afterwards that they were disappointed that he wasn't assassinated. I was very, very, very polite when being polite isn't necessarily called for in that situation, but I was, and I had a couple of responses, but nothing. I would say no, because I think I have a fairly high threshold for drama. I'll never be rude to people, never insult them, just make a logical point, and then if it's a topic that I don't know much about, then I'll just keep out of it. If somebody asks me, I'll say I don't know much about that. But I like to think deeply about issues, and I like to discuss it because it's the best way to learn other people's arguments and to test the strength of your own. So I prefer it not to be drama. I prefer it to be a discussion. It's other people all have their views, and I don't like to drag. What you will notice, and this is in Sun Tzu's Art of War, is the first tactic, it says in Sun Tzu's Art of War, is to attack your opponent's strategy. And I like to keep it to this. I like to keep it to that, just strategy. If someone says something, I'll try and argue the facts if I disagree. Now, this is a thousands of year old philosophy. The second tactic, it says, is to get allies. So that's the second best strategy. So if you are in a discussion with somebody and you say something, and then they immediately go to my friends think this, or the experts say that means that you are probably beating the argument, and they have to go to allies. So I watch out for that. If someone says, well, my friends think this, then it's just I think, well, no, it's difficult to argue with that, so what? So I don't do that. I'll say my own views. I will never drag anybody else in. So if I put a video up that someone thinks is a contentious topic, if you don't want to put a comment on it, you know, either against it or in support of it. That's totally your business. I will never be saying, well, you know, these other booktubers agree with me. I would never do that to people. I'll just say my point and have it just on me. Right. Have you ever had a hate comment and did you respond? I've never had an outright hate comment. I haven't. I've had comments that have said I disagree with it. I've had comments that have said I disagree with you, but I'm interested in other people's views, which is brilliant. But I've never had a full-on hate comment. I've had a few slightly passive-aggressive or, you know, slightly sarcastic comments. I've had nitpicking comments, so you'll make a point and then instead of answering the point, somebody might little nitpick a little bit of it, which is always interesting to watch out for. So does that mean you agree with the point? I should have put it slightly better, I don't know. But I usually let the initial thoughts that I have pass through my mind, give them a bit of a full filter, and try and put a comment that I think the person can respect and you know, that's closer to their position, and sometimes I'll just put a neutral comment, like, it sounds like I've had loads of these comments, but I haven't. You know, like, thank you for posting, you know, brilliant that you've taken the time, or something like that. 7. Have you ever made a video just because you knew it would get views? James at Quaint and Curious Volumes had the perfect answer to this. It's, what do you mean? I don't put stuff up for people not to like. I don't like quoting other people, and not exactly, but it was along those lines. So yeah, there's a trade-off. You're trying to talk about the things that interest you, but of course you have to think what's going to interest other people. So yes, so you know, we are posting on YouTube, but whether we like it or not, and you know, you may disagree, but as soon as you start posting, in some senses, maybe even in a quite weak sense, you're in the entertainment business. If people aren't interested and offer, you know, for a slightly weaker word, entertained, they're not going to listen. So yeah, I think James pretty much said it perfectly, so check his video out. 8. If you could go back to the beginning of your channel, would you do anything differently? It's always brilliant listening to other people's questions, because it's just kind of think, wow, I don't think like that. I've never kind of sat there and thought, oh, if I could have my time over again. That it's just kind of like, oof, you know, it's just, you know, you can never have your time over again, can you? You know, you can look back and think of lessons that you've learned and adapt them to the future, but yeah, just hang on a second. If my future self disagrees with me, can you appear now? That was disappointing. That's a Big Bang joke. So yeah, no, yeah. So I don't think like that. I try and learn, but learn from yourself. But of course, learn from other people is absolutely brilliant. And just watching the other great YouTubers out there, some fantastic channels. Are there any channels that you wish you could be more like? I think, again, I'd say no, but then you kind of, but I wouldn't say no, because you've always kind of, you know, to thine own self be true. But, you know, I do look at some other YouTubers' channels and, you know, I won't say steal stuff, but you kind of go, wow, yeah, that is just brilliant. I'm I'm going to do that. I mean, I didn't know about BookTube. I didn't know about tags. I didn't know about all this. So when I first did the BookTuber newbie tag, I thought I was it felt a bit like stealing somebody else's idea, but yeah, it's I don't know, yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So I didn't name anybody. Didn't name anybody there, did I? So yeah, I'll have to think about that. You know, I perhaps won't name other channels. You know, with my answers to earlier questions, they might not. They might not want to be associated with me, might they not? So, question 10. What's something you love about your channel? Yeah, I find it very difficult to kind of, you know, answer that. It's like being in an interview and someone says, well, what makes you good for this job? It's like, oh, bloody hell, I should have really thought about that, shouldn't I? But what I have really enjoyed is discovering the whole BookTuber world out there. You know, the tags, people's comments, what people are interested in. You know, there's, you know, different genres that I've never really read much of. You kind of suddenly realise, well, hang on a second, yeah, I haven't read a lot of sci-fi. So I've bought a couple of big batches of sci-fi books, and you think, well, hang on, no, everybody, you know, loads of people think that, but I find the opposite. But that's great. They like this, I like that. But you know, what has been absolutely fantastic is, you know, getting to know people slightly on BookTube, people's comments. You know, when they put just a little positive comment, or oh, I liked what you said about that. You know, in one video it said about a dance off, and I said between Frankenstein and Jekyll and Hyde, it'd be quite fun. And you know, people were really picking up on that and say, oh yeah, I could really see that. So that's absolutely, you know, fantastic, is just to hear other people's views. Again, I think James said exactly the same, that's what he liked. And yeah, it's just fantastic to see people's enthusiasm. That's what I like, watching people's enthusiasm. Even if it's something I'm not enthusiastic about, you just kind of think, wow, it's just great to see people love stuff. And as well, it's what is great, as well as you know, when you turn on the media, you kind of hear, you know, oh, the end of the world or what have you. But there's a lot of people out there who are, you know, very positive about, because I'm positive about England, positive about English and British culture, and positive about America and Americana. You know, I watched videos on you know, the great American novel, and some people were saying, oh, as if a great American novel exists. And it's like, you're absolutely kidding, aren't you? You're kidding. Wow. You know, America has come up with some absolutely massive, culturally iconic books. Absolutely massive. You know, Moby Dick, anything by Hemingway. Absolutely, you know, Mark Twain. Whew, yeah, absolutely massive. So that's my answers. Someone's pinging me. I'm in a big, long WhatsApp conversation, which I'll start putting up. So good luck out there, everybody. I'll tag some people. Bye for now.